Imagine the vast open sea for a moment. And now, shift gears completely. Picture, say, the quiet shelves of a historical library. Maybe not the most obvious connection, right? But today, we're diving deep into navigating early science books and instruments of the sea, using some incredible finds from the Royal Society's collections. Our mission, really, is to uncover how mastery of the oceans actually started, well, not just on ships, but right here in books, as knowledge was gathered, shared, and visualized in pretty clever ways.
Exactly. And for you listening, especially if you're intellectually curious, it's key to remember these aren't just, dusty relics. They're vital artifacts. They really shine a light on the foundations of scientific thinking, exploration, how people started figuring out their place in the grand scheme of things.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning, the dawn of printed navigation, as you put it. Where do we kick off this journey?
Well, our deep dive really starts in Spain. Valladolid, 1545, with Pedro de Medina's Arte de Navegar. It's significant because it's the very first Spanish title they have in the Royal Society's library.
The earliest one. Wow.
Yes. And Medina's book, it wasn't just abstract ideas. It was this careful blend. Theory and practice covered tides, winds, climate, but also described instruments, maps, charts. Really practical stuff.
So it was like a comprehensive guide.
Absolutely. It was sort of a blueprint for navigation as something you could actually teach and learn systematically. And it caught on fast, got translated, became a standard textbook across Europe, really made Medina's name.
Okay, so Medina lays the groundwork. But then, just a bit later, 1561, something really interesting pops up in England, the art of navigation. It was based on Martin Cortes's work, but hailed as the first proper treatise on this in English. And the really cool part, paper models inside the book.
Oh, the paper instruments. Yes, they're fantastic. Think about it. This made complex ideas tangible. You could actually interact with them even if you were miles from the coast. It was, well, a revolutionary teaching method back then.
Sort of democratizing the knowledge.
In a way, yes. And the printer, Richard Jugg, he's also the guy apparently credited with inventing the printed footnote.
No way.
Yeah, a small detail, maybe. But it shows how even practical science books were becoming more, let's say, academically rigorous. And here's a neat little connection, the fancy woodcut on its title page. It was also used for Castiglione's Book of the Courtier that same year.
Huh. So a shared visual language in printing back then?
It suggests so, yeah. A kind of shared aesthetic across different types of books.
Right. Moving on a few decades, 1597, we get William Barlow's The Navigators' Supply. This one has fold-out plates?
It does. And they describe something called a pantometer. It's basically a combined compass and ruler. You could use it for triangulation, figuring out positions using angles. What's really striking is that this description seems to predate Athanasius Kircher, who's often credited with inventing a similar device much later.
So Barlow was ahead of the curve.
Definitely looks that way. It just highlights the ingenuity, the forward thinking you find in these early scientific texts. They weren't just repeating old knowledge.
Okay, now, for what you mentioned might be a favorite, the interactive stuff. Peter Apian's Cosmography, the 1584 edition, expanded by Gemma Frisius. It has volvels.
Ah, the volvels. Yes, they are truly wonderful. Think of them as interactive paper computers, almost. Layered paper discs you could actually turn to make calculations, figure out positions of stars, times, that sort of thing. They invited the reader to do the science.
And the copy at the Royal Society is in good shape. After, 430 years?
Remarkably good shape. You can see the volvels are often reinforced with little scraps of leftover printed paper pasted on the back. Old proofs, maybe. And that preservation itself, it makes you think, doesn't it? What does it tell us about how much these early learning tools were valued? Clearly, quite a lot.
It really does. But here's the surprising bit, connecting back to the Royal Society's records. You mentioned many of these authors might not have been sailors themselves.
That's the intriguing part, yes. It seems many likely never actually sailed the routes they wrote about.
So, what was the point then? If the supposed end users, the mariners, weren't necessarily the author's primary experience.
Well, if you zoom out a bit, it suggests a broader picture. These paper instruments, these detailed texts, yes, they were marketed to sailors, but they were incredibly useful for others too. Think astronomers, mathematicians, surveyors on land. They needed these calculation tools, these precise descriptions. And let's not forget, these elaborate books, especially those with volvels or complex diagrams, were also a showcase. They showed off the incredible skill of the printers and engravers.
Ah, okay. So less about direct, hands-on use at sea for everyone, and more about disseminating the science, the theory, and also demonstrating technical skill.
Precisely. It shifts our view of the primary audience and the purpose. It wasn't just about practical seafaring. It was about building and sharing the theoretical framework, the science of navigation itself.
It's an amazing mix, isn't it? This blend of deep science, intricate craftsmanship, and sheer intellectual curiosity packed into these old books. They really show knowledge being explored, visualized, shared in ways that were genuinely cutting edge for their time, often far from any ocean breeze.
Absolutely. And maybe here's a final thought to leave you with. We tend to question, how practical armchair navigation could really be. But these historical paper machines, these books and volvels, were absolutely crucial. They're the way the science and the art of navigation spread. And perhaps consider this, even today, how much of our most advanced practical science still depends entirely on fundamental theories worked out, initially, in what might look like an academic ivory tower. The connection isn't always direct, but it's powerful.